Hey everybody, I'm Jesse,
And I'm Addie.
and we just finished watching Meg 2, The Trench. First of all, this movie managed to get a sequel, which was astounding to me upon hearing. I mean, I got excited when I saw the first, what's it called, like movie posters and trailers on Facebook not too long ago. But it still just surprised me because the movie was just all right. It seemed like a sci-fi movie with a little bit more of a budget, which is fine. Don't get me wrong. I love the first Meg. I just showed it to her not too long ago because she hadn't seen it. I love it. I think it's fun. I think it's great. But it was still just surprising. I didn't think it was going to warrant a sequel. But I guess it's one of those movies that doesn't necessarily perform great in the ratings, but enough people go out to watch it that it makes enough money.
Just because Jason Statham produced it, he wanted to be the star of his own movie again.
Yeah, I guess he had just so much fun, and he's like, I have to come back. But overall, I thought the movie was just on par with the original Meg. It didn't seem too much better or any worse than the original one. If you go by the ratings, it's getting really bad ratings right now. But then again, the original Meg has bad critic and audience ratings. I thought it was good.
It's not
It's
Sharknado.
it's yeah. I mean, it's the first one's not as cheesy, I'd say, as this one,
Yeah.
or you don't have to suspend your belief as much in that film. With this one, there is a bit more suspension of disbelief, but overall, I think they stack up pretty well with each other. Like with the amount of time you see the actual Megs, um, and the amount of action you get, and also the way the movie is paced. I feel like if you think about it, it's paced pretty similarly. But yeah.
Yeah, I didn't uh, see much of a difference between the first one and the second one in that aspect, but I did like the first one a little bit more just because it had more novelty to it. This one you already knew what to expect. It's basically like the same, there's sharks and now we have to save the world again. So it's a little bit more repetitive than the first one.
I feel like it's similar to how when they brought Jurassic World back for the first time in 2015 with Chris Pratt, and it was like, if we do the same thing over again, it's not going to work. So we're just doing the same thing, but providing you a different dinosaur with more teeth. Um, but yeah, one of the gripes that I had with the first one that I kind of have with the second one is that it's a shark movie. I would kill to see more blood. But I get that I assume they're going for a PG-13 rating. I think it's PG-13. I don't think it's rated R. That they're going for to try and reach a mass audience, right? But I would just love to see some more blood. You see some here and there, but it's just not enough for my taste. It's a creature flick. You got sharks. I want to see blood covered waters, right? But it's not too bad.
I was fine without the blood. I don't. There was more than I wanted there to be. I'll leave it at that.
More than enough. Yeah. Uh, on the subject of like things that probably could have been different, a lot of people mentioned like the subplot. Um, I did feel like maybe it could have been distracting from the story of the Meg themselves, the Megs, but I didn't hate it. It fit in all right. They kind of nestled it in there, but it was at some times I felt like it stole from the plot of there is some big sharks and other creatures here in the trench, um, but not too bad overall. It had some other it gave you a reason for some other conflict outside of dealing with the Megs, so it wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I feel like it introduced a couple of new characters that were not great in my opinion. I don't want to spoil too much, but the subplot itself did seem to fit the theme of the movie, so that
Yeah.
wasn't too bad. It was just the actors and the way they actually went through the subplot that was kind of bad.
Yeah, you did mention one thing that got me thinking, like the reasoning behind this subplot is meh,
Yeah.
not too well thought out. I think it could have been a
They could
little
have made it.
better.
Yeah, they could have made it a little bit more
I
developed.
think one idea that pops into my head that is in no way spoiler. It's in no way a spoiler because it doesn't happen in any way, shape, or form. But like they could have made it regarding like genetic modification or something related to the Megs,
Yeah.
Um, but it's more of a to keep it quite vague, like corporate espionage, I guess. But
People
yeah,
being greedy.
it was alright. The subplot wasn't bad. There's some subplots I've seen in movies that are just horrid, but this was alright.
We left with more questions than answers, though.
Besides that, on the topic of bringing in new characters, we do get to see some returning characters as well. My favorite that I'm glad they brought back was DJ.
Yeah.
DJ I felt was like the
He had the best arc of them all.
like the Roman from
Yeah.
Fast and Furious.
Mhm.
He is the equivalent
Probably.
of Roman in this film. Just in the way almost like that they talk and they've got this kind of like charisma to them. Riz. There you go. I was looking for that word, but I couldn't get it out. But yeah, they got that riz to them, and he's even funnier in this film. We get to see just a little bit more of him. I wish we could have seen even more, but the amount that we get to see, we get to appreciate him even more than we do in the first film. Because in the first film, he's funny already, but we don't see him enough. I feel.
Yeah, here he's funny and he has tricks.
Yeah, and he's got some more tricks up his sleeve, so that was nice. We also get some character replacements that I'm not sure if they appear in the trailer or they don't make it evident, but the chemistry between these characters still works.
Yeah, the two main characters.
Yeah, it still works very well in my opinion. It is weird. I guess there must have been scheduling conflicts or monetary issues, but some characters are just not there anymore. That
I'm sure you can Google the cast listing and see who's there and who's not. Jason Statham is such a surprise.
Oh no! Oh my goodness! I can't believe he returned. But yeah, the last thing that was like as we were watching the film and we got to the third act, those last like 30, 40 minutes, everything just really starts pumping up. Is when you get the full blast creature action, and it's just a blast. It in itself could be its own little mini movie, and it was fun. It was great. The action was fun. Just equal amounts of suspension of disbelief you have to use in this film, in this portion of the film, because there's just so many crazy things going on.
Too many things going on at once, and all of them should not be physically possible.
Yeah, but it's fun to watch. It was a good time indeed. But that ending, like third act. Thank you. Third act of the film. There's a lot of Jurassic Park references that I was like, she says I'm reaching, but I feel like I'm not.
I think we need to do more research to see if they actually intended it to be.
If it was one thing, I would have been like, I'm reaching. But there's these multiple little things that, if you know what I'm talking about, specifically that happen in the Lost World, and then one thing that happens in the original Jurassic Park. But I don't think I'm reaching. There's just so many little things, and if you catch them, or you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah.
Okay. Didn't catch them on the first try.
You wouldn't know.
Told me about them.
You wouldn't know. But yeah, we'll go into our ratings now, and then I'll give a little spoiler warning at the end because there's one little thing I want to gripe about. I think I was griping about it to you after the film. But yeah, rating wise, I myself would give it a solid 6. I really enjoyed it. As I'd probably say the first film is also a 6 and I enjoyed them just as much. Like there's a certain amount of suspension of disbelief that you have to use to enjoy these films. If you're like me, where I'm just like I want to like nitpick it, but at the same time I'm like no, just don't think about it.
Fun movie.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. So in that sense, that's why sometimes it's just like it's sitting in the back of my head, and I'm trying not to think about it, so it distracts me from the film sometimes. But overall, it's a great movie. I wish it was some more blood, being that it's sharks. There doesn't need to be more blood, but I would have liked it. But Jason Statham is great. He's the character that he is in almost every film. He's like another The Rock, I guess you could say. But he's fun to watch and fun to see fight and take on giant sharks. So solid 6 out of 10. You're gonna have a good time. Very just like if you've seen any sort of like futuristic films that come out of China, this feels a lot like that. And like the design of the suits of any of the submarines or anything, it feels like a lot of the movies that are being pumped out recently that are just sci-fi, which is not a bad thing. It looks cool. It's just almost like overplayed a little bit, and I'm just like, this looks a little bit too exaggerated. But that's digging into too much. I thought it was a good, fun film. I'm gonna watch it. There's a 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm gonna go watch them. They're fun. There's giant sharks. If they had more giant creatures, I'm all for it. So, fun film.
I want to say I also give it a 6 out of 10.
Nice.
But
we finally get a
I don't know if I actually trust myself because I like bad movies, and this was a bad movie,
okay.
And I didn't hate it. But I did think the first movie was better.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't rate the first movie a 6 or a 7 or an 8. I don't know what I would rate it. I wasn't thinking about that when I was watching it.
Yeah, no,
so
that's fine.
If we're going off a sliding scale, then I would give maybe the first movie a 6, and then maybe this one like a 4.55. But most of those points are just for Jason. There's very few little points for everything else. There were a lot of characters that were really annoying or just badly portrayed. Not in the acting, but they were just like this look.
The way they're written.
Yeah, they looked pretentious. It didn't make me take the movie seriously, which is like one shark movie, so it's not supposed to be a serious movie. But they also had a lot of like loud jump scares in the theater, and that was not appreciated by me.
I think it's so funny because I've gotten myself used to these jump scares so that I like won't jump in my seat because I don't want people judging me. But we're holding hands every time we're in the theater, and so she squeezes my hand whenever she gets like jump scared, and it makes me get scared because she like gives me a squeeze, and I'm like,
together.
I'm over here trying to be brave and not jump scare, not like anybody cares, right?
But it's a dark movie theater, nobody's watching. But yeah, so there was too many like loud jump scare sounds for my preference, but nothing scary then succeeded to happen. So it felt like they just left us high and dry there. So I was like, if you're gonna make a scary sound, at least make something scary come out on the screen. There was nothing scary. So
a few times there was.
I wouldn't.
We can get into
scary. Too many spoilers. We're getting off topic. But yeah, it was a bad movie, but I liked it.
It's what do they call a B film? I think is what they're called when they're like bad, like cheesy films, but they're good in a way.
Yeah.
You know, which is what you would call like the Sharknado films.
Those I don't know what I would consider. I think those are like in my brain. Those are like low budget films. This did not feel like a low budget film.
Much more higher caliber, of course.
But like it had like low budget film vibes. Yeah,
exactly. And I'm sure that's what they're going for. At least they're putting the budget. They're putting but maybe they're putting too much of the budget into like the actors and the special effects, and not enough into the writing.
Maybe.
Yeah. Overall, nice to see that we both. Not them being on strike right now.
God.
It's nice to see that we finally. I know we're only
6s, but they are different 6s.
And mind you, I say we finally coincide, and we've only been running this YouTube channel for only a couple videos now at this point. But usually we rate them on our own. Like we've been rating and having these discussions before, and we never tend to like hit the mark on like how we feel about a movie.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see we both gave this a 6. But yeah. Now into spoilers, just because there's some things that I want to talk about. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers about the film, it's not some crazy Avengers film, so I don't think it's a big deal. But if you don't want to hear any spoilers, feel free to end the video now, leave us a comment, drop a like. But yeah, on to the spoilers. The biggest thing that was like bothering me the whole film that I was telling her about as soon as we got out was that there's these amphibian creatures that you see in the trailer.
They're little dinosaurs.
Yeah, they're little dinosaurs that the T-Rex grabs one, and as it's about to eat it, the Meg eats the T-Rex, right? Well, we see those little dinosaurs again. Why? I don't know. So they toss them into the trench. 25,000 meters, I think it says it, right? It's meters, not feet.
Yeah, no.
Meters or feet, I don't know. But they toss those creatures that were living on land into the depths of the Mariana Trench.
Them?
No one tossed them. I'm just saying like that. Like I'm saying like the movie creator,
the
writers
like,
tossed them in there. No one grabbed them and threw them in.
Okay.
Okay. They toss them in there. How is that possible? Like this is like there's so much pressure where we just experienced the Ocean Gate disaster, and this is well. I'm not saying I'm not trying to make a joke out of it. I'm just saying like we saw how pressure works in those depths, and that was not even that deep. So it's like you can't toss this like breathing creature that it could swim as it's shown at the beginning, but now you're tossing it all the way down there. So I assume A has to come up for air because it doesn't have gills. And so let's say they've adapted to live that far down, right? But then at the end of the film, in the third act, they're on the island on land.
How'd they get there so fast?
A, how'd they get there so fast? And B, if you were to pull them out, it's like the blobfish that there's that meme of, that pink blobfish. The reason some people don't know, if you know, then you can stop me, which you really can't. You can skip the next 5 seconds that I'm explaining this, but that fish looks normal underwater, under X amount of feet, but when you pull it out, it blobs because its body is used to all that pressure. So in theory, those amphibian little dinosaurs would blob. They would be useless on land.
Can't you say the same thing about the shark though? Because it's also like they were so that far under true. For so long up until they like the humans messed up their environment, and then they just swam all the way up. Like, shouldn't they also just like blob?
Yeah, you have a point. You could say that about the sharks too. They should just blob. I know, but those little amphibians were, and you could also play devil's advocate and say like half of them evolved to live under there, half of them evolved to live over here. But there's no visual difference. Mm-mm. They still have the same like body paint.
I think they are intended to be the same because there's a reason they focused on them when they like had the Cretaceous period or whatever label on it.
Yeah, so that was one of the things that just kept bothering me in my head because I was like, why? Why would you do that? And the other thing that I was like, there should be more blood was there's a spot where someone's like head implodes, like their helmet, it implodes and there's no blood. It's just like poof.
Yeah, I think they purposefully made that scene like blurry and like lots of things going on to avoid showing the blood.
Mush. There should have been like meat sauce in the water.
There was a child present. They couldn't.
Yeah. On the child, that's the one we were talking about the video. She was like, you mentioned how like annoying she was in the first one.
Mean, but yeah, she was annoying.
And then
I didn't think she was annoying in the first one. I think she was annoying here. She would not listen.
Might have been annoying, but it's acceptable because she was a child.
Yeah.
In this one, she is still technically a child.
14-year-old.
But it was just meh.
Everything was her fault. If she would have paid attention and not have been on the boat, maybe submarine, whatever, they wouldn't have had all of this happen. It just happened because she was there out of sheer luck.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was annoying.
The one thing that isn't a gripe, that's also a spoiler, but like Su Ying, was that her name?
Yeah.
She gets replaced by her brother that we never knew about. Mm-hmm. That's the one I was talking about. Like there must have been like scheduling conflicts or some monetary issue or something.
I thought she had died in real life because in the movie they did like a little like
memoriam.
Tribute, memoriam, and then they put like really... X birth year to like 2021, and I was like, oh my god, did she die? But no, she didn't die. She just, I guess, didn't want to be in the movie.
Usually, if someone really dies, they'll put at the beginning or at the end, like in memory of.
So we waited to the end, and at that point, I forgot.
True. But yeah, they kill her off in the movie, and then we're presented to her brother, which just inherited the family fortune that we didn't know they had. And
no, he said that he went off on his own and like built his thing, and then at the beginning when they have the speech with the evil villain,
maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, he said he was just like, oh, like since my father and my sister died, I'm doing this in their honor. So he basically is funding the underwater research in honor of the dad and the sister.
Yeah. So, basically, he has this big paddock now where he keeps this Meg in, and I was just like, well, when did all this happen? And now Jonas is with him, and he's like this. What did they call him? Like a
uncle?
No, not uncle. Like a conservative guy. Like he cared about the earth.
Oh,
when he was just
green guy.
Yeah,
green earth.
Something. Well, like he cares about the earth and stuff. Now he's like going and like taking on environmentalists. Thank you. He's going and like and raiding, not raiding ships, but like going on ships and like catching people in the act of like dumping stuff into the ocean and stuff. And I'm like, this guy was just a basic diver who had like retired, and now he's like an environmentalist. I was like, I guess people can change, but it just feels like a drastic jump in character.
And now you know the whole movie.
Yeah. That's why I said spoiler though. But I'm gonna put a nice big spoiler warning. If you stuck around with us this long, thank you. We hope. I would love to like do this for every single movie, but
I guess do this for Barbie, but
well, I guess there's only some films where we just like where it like sparks enough enthusiasm to like want to do this. So
and it had to be the Dumb Shark movie. This is what's sparking conversation. Oh,
sorry. I don't know. I didn't have that many thoughts about Barbie. It was just fun.
It wasn't for you.
Yeah. Okay, baby. Okay. I'm just Ken.
You're just Ken.
But yeah, thank you for sticking around. If you are here, you're our handful of loyal watchers.
One of them.
Ourselves coming back and watching our own video.
Thanks, Mom.
But yeah, let us know what you think or thought about Meg to the Trench. If you've seen it or if you're gonna see it, let us know what you're expecting. Drop a comment below, and we'll see you next time.